computer games. You see, what about questions? So what about questions? What about questions? So you put am or are or is in the beginning. Am I, for example, doing it well? Then verb plus ing. Are we doing it? Are we doing it well? Are you doing it well? Are they doing it well? So is he doing it well? Is she doing it well? Is it doing it well? So, for example, I can ask you, are you learning English now? Are you learning English now? Is he doing his homework? Is he doing his homework? Are they talking on the phone? Are they talking on the phone? So what about questions? Am I doing it well? Are we doing it well? Are you doing it well? Are they doing it well? Is he doing it well? Is she doing it well? Is it doing it well? Are you learning English now? Is he doing his homework? Are they talking on the phone? Okay, exercises. Exercises. So, I, next, read a book. Say it in present continuous, in a statement, in a negative form, and in a question. Okay? So, really, form a question. So, how do we form it? Let's look. Let's look. So, it's easy. It's really easy for us. So, am is are, am is or are, plus verb plus ing. So, I am plus verb plus ing. I am reading a book. Or I am reading a book, or I'm reading a book. I'm reading a book. So how to form a negative form? You add not. I'm not. I'm not reading a book. I'm not reading a book. Or I'm not reading a book. Okay? Let's ask a question. Am I reading, for example, a book, or am I reading a good book? Am I reading a good book? Am I reading a good book? So, you see, exercises. I am reading a book. I am reading a book. I am not reading a book. I am not reading a book. Am I reading a book? Okay? So, am I reading a good book? Good. Very good. So, what is next? So, let's talk about the next tense. It's past continuous. It's past continuous. So, it's a long action in the past. It's a long action in the past. So, it's a long action in the past. We usually use it. We usually use it in this situation. In these situations. Yeah, in this. We usually use it in these situations. So, let's look at it. Yeah, and we form it this way: was, were, plus verb, plus ing. Look, we usually use it in these situations. So, the first situation. So, when he called me, I was working. So you see a short action called, and a long action was working, a long action. So I was working, and then suddenly he called me. So I was working, and working. It's a long action, and then suddenly he called me. Okay, good. So when he called me, I was working. Next, when he saw me, I was driving a car. So driving a car is a long action. So I was driving a car, and then suddenly he saw me. It's a short action. So a short action interrupts a long action, or a long one. So a short action interrupts a long action, or a long one. So it's past continuous. Yeah, it's about long actions. For example, I was learning English all day. So it's a time marker. It's a time marker for past continuous. I was learning English all day. I was working all day. So if you have it, you use past continuous. It's about long actions. Okay, next. When you describe something in the past, for example, yeah, so it's about long actions, yeah, and we have a time marker all day. So you see, and when you describe something in the past, for example, the sun was shining brightly. We were lying on the beach. And so on. So it's a process, it's a long process. You see, it's a long process. Okay? So you see, when you describe something in the past, so a short action interrupts a long action, a long one. So it's about long actions. All day. I was learning English all day. So all day is a time marker for past continuous. I was working all day. Good. When you describe something in the past, the sun was shining brightly. We lying on the beach. So it's a long process. Good. And there is one more situation. For example, yesterday at 7 o'clock, or yesterday at 6 o'clock. So yesterday at 6 o'clock, at 5 o'clock. So you see, so you mention, so yesterday, so you mentioned yesterday and the time. For example, I was reading a book at 4 o'clock yesterday. at 4 o'clock yesterday. Compare. Compare. I read a book yesterday. I read a book yesterday. I read a book yesterday, so it's past simple. I read a book yesterday, it's past simple, and I was reading a book at 4 o'clock yesterday. So it's past continuous. Past continuous. I was reading a book at 4 o'clock yesterday, or I was reading a book yesterday at 4 o'clock. So it's past continuous. So if you have, you have yesterday and the time, you use past continuous. So these are four most important situations. These are four most important situations. So the first situation is the most common. The first situation with when is the most common. Is the most common. Good. So when do we use it? So with when, so there are two actions. So you see, one action is short and one action is long. Next, with all day, it's a time marker. When you describe something in the past, for example, the sun was shining brightly, we lying on the beach. And so if you mention the time, so yesterday and the time, for example, I read a book yesterday, so it's past simple. It's past simple because we have only yesterday, and I was reading a book at 4 o'clock yesterday, or yesterday at 4 o'clock, so it's past continuous because you say o'clock. Good, very good. So let's do some exercises. So exercises. When he call me, I play computer games. So choose past simple or past continuous. So when he call me, I play computer games. So which action is long, and which action is short? So when he call me, I play computer games. So call is a short action and play is a long action. So I was playing computer games, and then suddenly he called me. So when he called me, I was playing computer games. So I know that students often make mistakes with this tense. Students often make mistakes with this tense. Okay, so next, so what is next? 5.2, how to form a negative form. So it's easy. You see, so wasn't or weren't plus verb plus ing, and how to ask a question. So was or were plus subject plus verb plus ing. For example, when he came home, I wasn't cooking. When he came home, I wasn't cooking. Next. Were you playing computer games? Were you playing computer games? Were you playing computer games when he called you? Were you playing computer games when he called you? When he called you. So you see, when he came home, it's a short action, and I wasn't cooking, it's a long action. Yeah, we often use past continuous with when. When he came home, I wasn't cooking. Yeah, and you know, if you want to ask a question, so was, were plus subject plus verb plus ing. Were you playing computer games when he called you? Were you playing computer games when he called you? Good. Good, really good. So, what about the next tense? So, it's future continuous. Future continuous. So, we often use it in speaking. We often use it in speaking in the following situation. Continuous. We often use it. We often use it in speaking in the following situation. So it's a long action in the future. It's a long action in the future. It's a long action in the future. So how do we form it? Will be plus verb plus ing. Or we can use a short form. Plus be plus verb plus ing. Look, I'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you. So, I'll be waiting for you. It means it's very important for me. It's very important for me. It's very important for me. And I'll be waiting and waiting and waiting. And I'll be waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. It's very important for me. I'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for your reply. I'll be waiting for your reply. Or I'll be waiting for your answer. I'll be waiting for your answer. Okay? So future continuous. We often use it in speaking in the following situation. So a long action in the future will be plus verb plus ing. So you see, we can also use a short form. I'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for your reply. It means it's very important for me, and I'll be waiting and waiting. Okay. So we talked about so these groups. We talked about these groups: simple and continuous. Simple and continuous. Okay? So present simple, it has another name. So it has another name. It has another name. Present indefinite. Present indefinite. Next, past. Oh no. Next, future simple. Future simple. Past simple. Past simple and present continuous. Present continuous. Past continuous. Past continuous and future continuous. And future continuous. So present simple or present indefinite, future simple, or sometimes you can meet present indefinite, past simple, or past indefinite. And you see present continuous. sometimes you can meet present progressive, past continuous, or past progressive, future continuous, or past or future progressive. Good. So very good. We talked about these very important groups. Well, so let's talk about perfect. Let's talk about perfect tenses. So, and it's number 7, present perfect. So it's about the past. But there is a connection. With the present. We use this tense. If we have these time expressions or time markers. Okay, so already and how do we form it? Have or has plus past participle. It's the third form. Okay, so I, we, you, they have, he, she, it has, plus past participle or the third form. Okay, or the third form. So perfect tenses, you see, or time markers. Okay, good, very good. So present perfect, have, has plus past participle, or we call it the third form. So if we use they have plus past participle and he, she, it has plus past participle, so it's about the past, but there is a connection with the present. We use this tense if we have these time expressions or time markers. Okay, so time markers. Already, I have already been there. So been is a past participle, is the third form. We put already in the middle. They put already in the middle. I have already been there. Next, just. We have just called her. We put just in the middle. We have just called her. Next. So what is next? Ever, never, and yet. Never, ever, and yet. So we use yet in negative sentences. We use yet in negative sentences. And we put it in the end. Look. So negative sentences, haven't or hasn't plus past participle. Haven't or hasn't plus past participle. For example, he hasn't. He, she, it hasn't. He hasn't come back yet. It means he didn't come back. So if you have yet, you use present perfect. He hasn't come back yet. So you see, Next, so already, I have already been there. We put already in the middle. Just, we have just called her. We use yet in negative sentences and we put it in the end. So haven't, hasn't plus past participle. He hasn't come back yet. And if you have ever and never. Okay, so good. So what about ever? We use it in questions. Ever. Have you ever? Have you ever? Please remember this question. Have you ever been there? Have you ever been there? Have you ever? Have you ever thought? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about that? Okay, what about never? What about never? So we can use it. We can use it in past simple and present perfect. We can use it in past simple and present perfect. It depends on the context. It depends on the context. It depends on the context. Please compare. Please compare. I never went there when I was a child, and so it's the first sentence. I never went there when I was a child, and so you see, I have never been there. So it's true now. It's true now. So we use past continuous. We use past continuous here, or we use past simple here. It's a distant past. It's a distant past. So this sentence, this part of the sentence, when I was a child, tells us that it's a distant past. So we use past simple. Past simple. Okay? So we use past simple. Good. And I have never been there. It's true now. So there is a connection. There is a connection. There is a connection with the present. There is a connection with the present, and we use present perfect. I have never been there. It's true now. So there is a connection with the present. Good. So very good. Okay, and now you need to do some exercises. You need to do some exercises. So he was, or he has been there. He was, or he has been there last year. So was or has been. You need to look. You need to look at time markers. You need to look at time markers. So last year is a time marker of past simple. Is a time marker of past simple. So last year is a time marker of past simple. So he was there last year. Next, she was, or she. So what is right? She was there. She was just there, or she has just been there. So just is a time marker of present perfect. So you need to say she has just been there. She has just been there. And one more task. Correct the mistake. Correct the mistake. Correct the mistake. He yet hasn't been in London. He yet hasn't been in London. So please correct the mistake. So do you see any mistakes? He yet hasn't been in London. Who knows? Who knows? Please put your hand up. Who knows? So you know that we put yet in the end. We put yet in the end. So he hasn't been, yeah, blah blah blah, yet. Yeah, is it okay or not? Is it okay? Yeah, it's okay that we have yet in the end. But is the sentence correct? Is the sentence correct? Is the sentence correct? I said blah 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 because this part isn't correct. So it isn't correct. Why? Okay, so exercises. He was there last year. You need to look at time markers. So last year is a time marker of past simple. So she has just been there. Correct the mistake. So he hasn't been in London yet. So where is the mistake? He hasn't been. This sentence. He hasn't been in London yet. This sentence had two mistakes. So this sentence had two mistakes. Okay? This sentence had two mistakes. So he hasn't been in London yet. You need to say he hasn't been to London yet. Please remember it. Please remember it. Please remember it. He hasn't been to London yet. So we use it. We used to after being. We used to after being with present perfect. We used to after being with present perfect. Compare. I was in London. I was in London. So it's okay. It's okay. It's past simple. It's okay. It's past simple. And I have been. I have been to London. I have been to London. It's okay because it's present perfect. And you know that we use to after being in present perfect. I have been to London, or have you ever been? Have you ever been? Have you ever been to London? Have you ever been to London? Yeah. So he hasn't been to London yet. Please remember it. We use to after being with present perfect. Compare. I was in London. So it's okay. It's past simple. I have been to London. It's present perfect. Have you ever been to London? Well, so next. What is next? So tense number 8, it's past perfect. It's past perfect. How do we form it? Had plus past participle. Had plus past participle, or the third form. Okay, it's you know, it's about the past. It's about the past, but one time before past simple. Look, he said he had been there. He had been there. Yeah, he said he had been there. So first he was there. First he was there. Then he said it. He said it. First he was there. Then he said it. Yeah, but you say he said first. He said he had been there. He said he had been there. So it's past perfect because it happened before he said. It happened before. It's happened before he said. It happened before he said. So he said he had been there. Okay, next. So she told me. She told me she had won. So she won earlier. She won earlier. She won earlier. So first she won and then she told me. Okay? So past perfect, had plus past participles, the third form. It's about the past, but one time before past simple. He said he had been there. First he was there, then he said it. It happened before he said. She told me she had won. She won earlier. Okay, test. So test. Past simple or past perfect. Past perfect. He tell me that he called her. So it's about the past. Which action happened earlier? Which action happened earlier? So tell or call. So first he called and then he told me. First he called her. Second he told me. He told me. So he called earlier. He called earlier. So we need to say. He told me that he had called her. Good. So test. Past simple or past perfect. So which action happened earlier? First he called her. Second he told me. He called earlier. He called her earlier. So we need to say he told me that he had called her. Good. Very good. Yeah. And you know, future perfect. Future perfect. So what is future perfect? It's future simple plus by. Yeah, if you have by and talk about the future, you use future perfect. If you have by and talk about the future, you use future perfect. You use future perfect. Look, future simple. I will finish it. I will finish it. And future perfect. Future perfect. So compare. Compare. Future simple and future perfect. Yeah. How do you form it? We'll have plus past participle or plus the third form or plus the third form. We'll have plus past participle or plus the third form. Okay? So I will have plus past participle finish, finished, finished. I will have finished it by next year. I will have finished it by next year. Yeah, so you see, will have finished because we have by. So future perfect, it's future simple plus by. Will have plus past participle, the third form. If you have by and talk about the future, you use future perfect. So future simple, I will finish it. Future perfect, I will have finished it by next year. For example, you can say I will have reached an advanced level by next month. Why not? Okay, I will have reached an advanced level by next month. Good. So a good plan. It's a good plan. I will have reached an advanced level by next month, so a good plan. Okay, or you can say, for example, I will have watched all the videos on your channel by next week. So I think it's possible. I think it's possible. So I will have watched all the videos on your channel by next week. I think it's possible. So very good. Yeah, and you know, we need to talk about the group perfect continuous. Right. We need to talk about present perfect continuous. We often use it in speaking. We often use it, you see, continuous. We often use it in speaking. Next, past perfect continuous and future perfect continuous Do you know these tenses? So no problem. Let's talk about it. Yeah, perfect continuous, present perfect continuous, we often use it in speaking. Past perfect continuous, future perfect continuous. Do you know these tenses? No problem. Let's talk about it. Okay, so students often say, I learn English for 2 years. So it's a mistake. So it's wrong. I learned English for 2 years. It's wrong. You need to use present perfect continuous here. Present perfect continuous. Need to use present perfect continuous here. Right. So if you have for since how long, tell us that we need perfect continuous. So it's a general rule. So what is present perfect continuous? So what is it? How do you form it? Have or has plus been. Have or has plus been plus verb plus ing. So I, we, you, they have, he, she, it has. I have been learning English. I have been learning English. I have been learning English for 2 years. For 2 years. So only this way. Only this way. I have been learning English for 2 years. Yeah, present perfect continuous. Okay? So I learned English for 2 years. It's wrong. You need to use present perfect continuous. Have has plus been plus verb plus ing. So for since, how long? Tell us. Yeah, tell us that we need perfect continuous. That we need present perfect continuous. Yeah, that we need perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. It's a general rule. It's a general rule. So I have been learning English for 2 years. Only this way. So only this way. Good. So more examples. More examples. I have been living here. I have been living here since 1995. It means I started living there. I started living there in 1995, and I'm still living, and I'm still living there, and I'm still living there. Or I can say I have been living here. I have been living here for 21 years. For 21 years, or for about 2 years. Well, for about 20 years. I have been living here for about 20 years. And we use present perfect continuous with how long. How long. So please remember this structure. Remember this structure. Remember this structure. So how long have you been? How long have you been doing something? How long have you been doing something? For example, I can ask you, how long have you been learning English? How long have you been? How long have you been learning English? How long have you been learning English? And you can say, for example, for 3 years. For 3 years. Okay, so more examples. I have been living here since 1995. I started living here in 1995, and I'm still living here. I have been living here for about 20 years. So for or since. You have since or for. How long and how long. So please remember this structure. How long have you been doing something? So how long have you been learning English? For 3 years. For 3 years. Okay? For example, how long have you been working here? How long have you been working here? Or how long have you been watching this video? How long have you been watching this video? For about 2 hours, I think, eh? For about 2 hours. For about 2 hours. So very good. Very good. Next. So what about past perfect continuous? Past perfect continuous. So it's like present perfect continuous, but in the past. It's like present perfect. It's like present perfect continuous, but in the past. Look, when he came home, yeah, and we form it this way. we form it this way. Had been plus verb plus ing. Had been plus verb plus ing. So when he came home, yeah, and we use for. We use for with past perfect continuous. When he came home, look, compare these sentences. Compare these sentences. When he came home, he was watching TV. When he came home, he was watching TV. So watching is a long action. So he was watching, and then he came home. So, and came is a short action. So it's past simple and past continuous. It's past simple and past continuous. When he came home, he was watching TV. Past simple and past continuous. So if you say for, you need to use past perfect continuous. If you say for, you need to use past perfect. You need to use past perfect continuous. Past perfect continuous. So you need to use past perfect continuous. You see, so when he came home, next, he, past perfect continuous, had been plus verb plus ing. He had been watching TV for example, for 2 hours. For 2 hours. Yeah, and we have this tense because of for. We use this tense because of for. Because of for. So when he came home, he'd be watching TV for 2 hours. So very good. So past perfect continuous is like present perfect continuous but in the past. So for, we form it this way. Had been plus verb plus ing. Please compare the sentences. When he came home, he was watching TV. So it's past simple, came and was watching. It's past continuous. If you say for, you need to use past perfect continuous. So when he came home, he'd been watching TV for 2 hours. We use this tense because of for. Okay, and what about future perfect continuous? What about future perfect continuous? What about future perfect continuous? So, you know, future simple. For example, I will learn English. I will learn English. You know future perfect. It's future simple. It's future simple plus by. Future simple plus by. And it's we form it this way. We'll have plus past participle. We'll have plus past participle. I will have learned English. I will have learned English by next year. I will have learned English by next year. So what is future perfect continuous? What is future perfect continuous? It's, you know, is future perfect, or it's future perfect, or is future simple plus by plus for. So you have by and for. or it's future perfect, or it's future perfect plus for. So if you have by and for and you talk about the future, you need to use future perfect continuous. So you know future simple, I will learn English. So you know future perfect, it's future simple plus by, and we form it this way. We'll have plus past participle, I will have learned, yeah, I will have learned English by next year. What is future perfect continuous? It's future simple plus by plus for, or it's future perfect plus for. So we have this sentence, I will have learned English by next year. So you know that future perfect, we form future perfect continuous this way. Will have been plus verb plus ing. So I will have, and you have by and for. So I will have been learning English, I will have been learning English for, so by and for, or for and by, for 2 months, or for 2 months, by next year. I will have been learning English for 2 months by next year. So you have for and you have by. So and you use future perfect. So I really hope it's a great lesson. I really hope it's a great lesson on English tenses. So you can watch it again. You can watch it again. You can take notes. You can take notes. So you can listen to it. You can listen to it. You can listen to it when you do other things. When you do other things. So and you can recommend it. So you can recommend it to your friends. You can recommend it to your friends. You know, I'm really glad to help you. It's the mission of this channel. I'm really glad to help you. It's the mission of this channel. Okay, so I really hope it's a great lesson. So I really hope it's a great lesson on English tenses. You can watch it again. You can take notes. You can listen to it when you do other things. You can recommend it to your friends. I'm really glad to help you. It's the mission of this channel. And you know, let's revise everything. Let's revise everything. Okay? So you see, all tenses in English, full course. I work as an English teacher. This course is very special. There is lots of interesting and useful information. You'll also see different exercises. Watch all this course. You can recommend it to your friends. I really hope this video course will help you understand English grammar and English tenses much better. Thanks for your support. So let's start with the most important tense. What is it? Present simple. We use it when we talk about the present. It's the main tense for things which usually happen sometimes and so on, not now. If it's about now, we need to use another tense. What is it? Do you know the name of this tense? It's present continuous. We'll talk about it a bit later. So present simple. How to form this tense? It's very easy. Subject plus verb. For example, I work, I understand, we see. We learn English here. You go to work. You live in America. More examples. They help us. They listen to the radio. Please remember this structure. Subject plus verb. There are two situations. So the first situation, I, we, you, they plus verb. The second situation, he, she, it plus verb plus s. Don't forget to put s. It's so important. He works there. She understands him. It really helps. It's a very important rule. Please remember it. Exercises. Test. He works there. Which variant is correct? How can you explain it in English? We learn English, so without s. More difficult things. My sister lives in Brazil. It means she. One more task. The lesson seems interesting. Well done, excellent. Let's continue. We call it affirmative, statement, negative, question, interrogative form. So how to form a negative? How to form a negative form? Who knows? Who knows? It's easy. Look. I, we, you, they plus don't plus verb. He, she, it plus doesn't plus verb. I work, I don't work. We work, we don't work. You work, you don't work. They work, they don't work. He works, he doesn't work. She works, she doesn't work. It works, it doesn't work. Exercises. He doesn't go to school. Let's write it down. If you have he, she, or it, you add as. Verb plus s in a statement. If it's a negative form, use don't or doesn't before a verb. So don't or doesn't plus verb. We don't smoke. My brother doesn't listen to pop music means he. How to form a question? Do I, we, you, they plus verb. Does he, she, it plus verb. Do you understand? Does she understand? We use does because of she. Do you know it? Do they live there? Exercises. Does she live there? Do you learn English every day? Does your brother drive a car? Do your parents work means they. More exercises. So say it in three forms. He understands. Is it correct or not? He doesn't understand. Does he understand? They help us. They don't help us. Do they help us? Okay, good. Let's talk about the verb to be. When do we need it? There is a rule. If you don't have a verb in a sentence in present simple, you need to use the form of to be. Am, is, or are. I am. He, she, it is. We, you, they are. I work. Work is a verb. We don't need to be. It is interesting. Do we have a verb in the sentence? No. So you need the verb to be. Good. So, to be. You can also use a short form. We often use it in spoken English. We often use it in spoken English when you speak. I am. I'm not at work. I'm not at work. We, you, they are at work. We, you, they are not at work. We aren't at work. You aren't at work. They aren't at work. He, she, it is. He, she, it is not at work. He isn't at work. She isn't at work. It isn't at work. Good. So, next. Am I a good student? Is he a good student? Is she a good student? Is it interesting? Are we good students? Are they good students? Are you good students? Really? Let's do some exercises. Let's do some exercises. I am happy. He is at work. They are there. My sister is at school means she. The lesson is interesting means it. My friends are in Spain means they. One more exercise on present simple. It interesting. It is interesting. It's interesting. It is not interesting. It isn't interesting. Is it interesting? Let's talk about the second tense. It's future simple. You know, it's very easy to form this tense. Will plus verb, so it's long form. So I, we, you, they, he, she, it will do it. I will learn English fast. She will come to us. I'll, will, you, they'll do it, she'll do it, he'll do it, it'll do it. We use short forms in speaking. We use short forms mostly in speaking. Mostly. We short forms mostly in speaking. Good. So, next. We often use future simple with tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, the day after tomorrow, soon, later, I'll call him later, or I will call him later. Will not plus verb or won't plus verb. I will not go to the party. Will not agree. You will not do it. They will not come to us. She will not study there. He will not watch that video. It will not help them or it won't help them. You put will in the beginning. So will I, we, you, they, he, she, it plus verb. So will you do it for me? Will we talk about that? Will he agree? He come to the party. You need to choose the right form. So he will come to the party. He will not come to the party. He won't come to the party. Will he come to the party? Past simple. How to say it in past simple? I work, I do it. There are two situations. So regular verbs, verb plus ed. I work, I worked. We play, we played. She listened, she listened. Irregular verbs. Remember its forms. Remember its forms or remember their forms. Remember their forms. Remember their forms. Good. So, do is an irregular verb. So, do, did, done, infinitive, past simple, or the second form, and past participle, or the third form. To say something in past simple, you need to know the second form of irregular verbs. So, I did it, I see, I saw. What's the second form of see? Saw. Exercises. Say it in past simple. I work, I worked. She knows it, she knew it. It helps me, it helped me. The most difficult thing about past simple is that you need to know irregular verbs. We often use past simple with such words as yesterday, the day before yesterday, last week, last month, last year, some phrases with ago, 3 days ago, 5 days ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 months ago, in 1988, for example. Didn't plus verb. I didn't do it. We didn't see it. You didn't say it. They didn't arrive. He didn't call us. She didn't return. It didn't happen. You use don't or doesn't in present simple in a negative form, but use only didn't with past simple. So, did I, we, you, they, he, she, it plus verb. Examples. Did you do it? Did he agree? Did they get this money? So you use do or does in present simple to form a question, but you use only did in past simple. There are some exercises especially for you. So, he came to the party, you use the second form. He didn't come to the party. Did he come to the party? Be in past simple. Was, were. So, I, he, she, it was at school. We, you, they were at school. I was happy. We were lucky. She was there. It was interesting. We were sad. We were unhappy. They were successful. You were a good student. I, he, she, it was not. I, he, she, it wasn't there. We, you, they were not. We, you, they weren't there. I wasn't at work. I was in the park. They weren't in Italy. They were in another city. If you want to ask a question with was or were, it's also easy. Was I, he, she, it there? Were we, you, they there? Was I right? Was she at work? Were they happy? I think you need some exercises. He was happy. He wasn't happy. Was he happy? We studied the group simple. Present simple, past simple, future simple. First of all, you need to know how to form. First of all, you need to know how to form these tenses, the basics of English tenses and English grammar. I believe that to speak English really well, you need to know about 7 tenses. Good. So, present continuous is for things, actions, which are now. Am, is, are, plus verb plus ing. I'm doing it. He is doing it. She is doing it. It is doing it. We are doing it. You are doing it. They are doing it. Compare. I'm teaching English. It's now. Present continuous. I teach English. It means in general. I usually do it. It's present simple. Okay, so time markers for present continuous. Now, at the moment. I'm learning English now. Time markers for present simple. Always, often, usually, sometimes, never. Every day, every week, month, year. I learn English every day. It tells us that we need to use present simple. More examples with present continuous. I'm looking at this slide. I'm reading it. I'm watching this video. I'm listening to you. I'm learning English. I'm making progress in English. All these things are happening now. Am, is, are plus not plus verb plus ing. I'm not plus verb plus ing. We, you, they aren't plus verb plus ing. He, she, it isn't plus verb plus ing. I'm not walking in the park now. I'm staying at home. He isn't doing his homework. He is playing computer games. What about questions? Am I doing it well? So, are we doing it well? Are you doing it well? Are they doing it well? Is he doing it well? Is she doing it well? Is it doing it well? Are you learning English now? Is he doing his homework? Are they talking on the phone? Exercises. I am reading a book. I am reading a book. I am not reading a book. I am not reading a book. Am I reading a book? Am I reading a good book? Past continuous. A long action in the past. Was, were, plus verb, plus ing. We usually use it in these situations. When he called me, I was working. A short action, called, was working, a long action. So I was working, and then suddenly he called me. When he saw me, I was driving a car. A short action interrupts a long action, a long one. So it's about long actions, all day. So I was learning English all day. It's a time marker for present continuous. I was working all day. 3. When you describe something in the past. The sun was shining brightly, we were lying on the beach, so it's a long process. 4. Yesterday, at 7 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, at 5 o'clock. So you mentioned yesterday and the time. Compare. I read a book yesterday, so it's past simple. I was reading a book at 4 o'clock yesterday. It's past continuous. So these are 4 most important situations. The first situation with when is the most common. Exercises. Choose past simple or past continuous. So, which action is long and which action is short? Call short, play long. So when he called me, I was playing computer games. Students often make mistakes with this tense. Wasn't, weren't plus verb plus ing. When he came home, I wasn't cooking. Was, were plus subject plus verb plus ing. Were you playing computer games when he called you? Future continuous. We often use it in speaking in the following situation. So a long action in the future will be plus verb plus ing. I'll be plus verb plus ing. I'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for your reply. I'll be waiting for your answer. It means it's very important for me, and I'll be waiting and waiting and waiting. Good. So, next. We talked about these groups, simple and continuous. Present simple, it has another name, present indefinite, future simple, future indefinite, past simple, past indefinite, present continuous, present progressive, past continuous, past progressive, future continuous, future progressive. So, perfect tenses, present perfect, have, has, plus past participle, the third form. So, I, we, you, they have, plus past participle, he, she, it has, plus past participle. It's about the past, but there is a connection with the present. We use this tense if we have these time expressions or time markers. So I have already been there. We put already in the middle. Just, we have just called her. We use yet in negative sentences and we put it in the end. Haven't or hasn't plus past participle. So yet. He hasn't come back yet. Ever. Have you ever been there? Have you ever thought about that? Never. We can use it in past and present perfect. So we can use it in past simple. Yes, we can use it in past simple, and present perfect. It depends on the context. Compare. I never went there when I was a child. It's a distant past, so we use past simple. I have never been there. It's true now. So there is a connection with the present. So good. Exercises. He was there last year. You need to look at time markers. So last year is a time marker of past simple. She was, is a time marker of past simple. Good. Yeah, she has just been there, so it's correct. Correct the mistake. He hasn't been in London yet. We put yet in the end. Is the sentence correct? The sentence had two mistakes. Yeah, good. So he hasn't been to London yet. Please remember it. We use to after been with present perfect. Compare. I was in London, so it's okay. It's past simple. I have been to London, so it's present perfect. Have you ever been to London? Past perfect. Had plus past participle, the third form. It's about the past, but one time before, past simple. He said he had been there. First he was there, then he said it. It happened before he said. She told me she had won. She won earlier. Test. Past simple or past perfect. So, which action happened earlier? Tell or call. So first he called her, second he told me. He called her earlier, so we need to say he told me that he had called her. Good.